Welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Rocket Monday, let's talk about space hygiene. So let's dive right into it. Now, why it is such an important thing? Well, this is almost similar as food. Basically, you don't think too much about food when you are doing a small kind of mission, but the moment you start to stretch it in weeks, months, or years, it becomes exponentially more important. So it is one thing that you have to thoroughly take into mind. Another aspect is there is no escape plan. For example, if you fall sick, majority of the time, if you can reach hospital quickly, it will be taken care of. That's what we are really good at. But here's the problem: in ISS, there is no escape system. Like, where you're gonna go outside? Like, it's not that useful. So fundamentally, you are stuck there, and you may be like emergency re-entry and all those procedures are not minute based, and not to mention in certain scenarios those may cause more harm than good, simply because those are like re-entry trajectory may be much more harsher than it should be, and in your crippled state getting more high G shocks may not be desirable. So you have to understand there are serious hazards to that. If you fall sick, seriously sick, that's like a mission ending kind of scenario. And if you fall sick, you are a hazard to everyone else around you, simply because everything is shared. Basically, the air, the volume, everything is limited, everything is going around. So fundamentally, if you could have something bad which could spread, it will become bad exponentially without even anybody noticing it. And there are some microbes. Majority of microbes behave more or less the same, but some microbes are naughty. So in those of naughty microbes, they love 0G, meaning if you put them in ISS, they grow exponentially, meaning things, the infection, your immune system is like, bro, I got this. In 0G, they are like, bro, I don't get this. I can't even deal with this. So you have to understand, some things become exponentially far more dangerous than compared to surface to ISS. So hygiene is the first line of defense. For example, what happens if your skin is clean, like thoroughly scraped off all the dead skin cells? Again, it gives you a fresh layer of skin, and you do not have anything that can latch onto your skin for much longer time. Like, again, there are sometimes there are like whole biological stuff that hygiene prevents you, like, is the first line of defense. And when you are in such a high risk environment, every line of defense matters. So first line of defense, good. Another aspect, from a psychological point of view, especially when you are talking in long term, you are inside a can cube, and the majesty, the beauty, all that will fade away. The first time you have to go to bathroom, basically. Realistically speaking, that's where people will be like, yep, nope, I'm going back to the basically earth the moment they have to go to bathroom. So realistically, you have to understand, when you are in there and you are doing it again and again, day in and day out, weeks, months, you need like some sort of psychological model. Same way food can help with your psychology, personal hygiene is the same thing. Everybody, like, when you feel tired, like, think of it this way, like, what do we first thing we do when we get out of the bed? It's like take care of ourselves, like, self-groom, brush, take a bath. Those things makes us feel good. That's why it's necessary there. Again, not in short duration, long duration, compulsory. So let's understand the basic aspects of it. You cannot have running water in space. Even if you have the physical capacity to carry that much water, to have running water, you will never use it, simply because water is sticky in space. There is no down direction. The consequence is you can literally drown in a bucket full of water. How the heck that's possible? Well, here's the deal. This has happened almost where astronaut was in 0G in spacesuit. The water pipe, like basically the cooling jack garment, broke. Water leaked. Here's the deal. Because at that point in time, 0G dictates what is the next biggest power source. First power source is gravity, so everything will fall down. That's not there. So what is the second biggest power source? That's surface tension. That, not power source is not the correct term, but you get that. Like, that becomes the current domain. The water started to crawl on astronaut and literally started to do like this. And it reached to a point where if he would have been in spacewalk for much longer, like the moment they detected like water is crawling, is like, I'm in, and like it was here till here. If water has come here, he would not be able to breathe. There would have, like, he would miss suffocated only with a little bit of water. So running tap water is something very dangerous that you genuinely do not want to have unless you have centrifuge. So fundamentally, that's a no-go. Then how do you start with your brush? Well, very simple. You have normal brush, normal toothpaste if you want to, but sometimes NASA will give you a toothpaste that is specifically edible, meaning if you swallow it, not a bad thing. Many like individuals like him swallow it. Many individuals like her, they spit it out, but you have to use wipes. There is no sink there. You have to spit in a wipe and you have to fold it. So it is safe to swallow, but like if they're gonna give you that option, it's gonna be safe for that. The brush there, that's nothing fancy there. Wet towel is the basically key metric of basically taking care of yourself. It's almost like a sponge bath. Don't think too much about it. It's like you will give a pouch of water, you will get a pouch of soap and water mix if you are looking for that, and then you use it. You can set water pouches to the temperature that you are seeking for. So that's how you get a bath there. And then how do you clip your nails? Well, you have to use air vent. Why? They have a negative section there. So if you clip, the particles get stuck in the filters. Then you pull out a giant ass vacuum to pull those things out. And that's the easiest way to make sure, like, it was not designed for it. They figured out this is the best way to taking care of nail clips. And when you have to do shaving, again, because they will create too many small particles, you have to attach your shaver, clipper, whatever have you, to a giant vacuum. You have to, there is no other way. So that's how you take care of the basic. You brush, you clip your nails, you do shaving if you need to, and in terms of bath, all you do is wet wipes. And be mindful, because water needs to be recycled. You straighten out all your towels and just let it basically dry out. So that dried out basically means water goes into the air handling system. Air handling system can remove it very efficiently, and then you can recycle the water. So that's how we take care of the basics part. Then we come to tedious part, that is like clothes. What the hell are you gonna do about clothes? This is one thing that every science fiction kind of forgets, like what the hell is your deal with the clothes? Because you cannot have freshly washed clothes daily. That's not gonna happen. As of now, we do not have the technology as of now. So all clothes are packed and sent. What does that mean? So whenever you hear about ISS being resupplied, majority of the resupply is this, basically clothes. You have to understand that clothes will be designed in such a way that you're gonna basically change your shirt, that blue shirt that you see many of them wearing. Blue shirt would be, let's say, swapped every month, socks every weeks, in undergarment generally a week. So they will pack it accordingly, and depending on your mission statement, you will have the main, then you'll have a little bit of reserve. So they have to change it constantly. Now you're like, why? Because again, these have one of the best air conditioning system. Everything is monitored. Then why the heck you need this many clothes? Well, reality is all of them have to exercise regularly, daily. That's their birthday gift, that you do not have to exercise that day. Now, why exercise is important? Well, because you are losing your muscle and bone at the same time. Exercise does wonder on muscle loss, and even on bone loss. It kind of slows this down to a point where you are not losing too much bone mass. So fundamentally, it's something that they have to do and do it regularly. And this thing will produce sweat, obviously. So that's why, like, you may have, like, shirts would be very few, but undergarments would be a lot. Socks specifically. Otherwise, this whole place is in closed space, so it's gonna stink badly. So they have to do it. So all the change clothes, basically, you change regularly, all the change clothes put away in the dirty and sweaty clothes basket, and then it's sent either to the ground or to the atmosphere. If they are sending in Cygnus, it will burn up in the atmosphere. If they are sending in Progress, it may come to Earth. Again, not all the time, majority of the time it's not done, it's just not worth it, but sometimes it could be done. So what about number 1 and number 2? Number 1 and number 2, well, number 1 is super easy, because you urinate in a tube with little suction. Not too much suction, it's not a vacuum pump, it's a very mild suction, because you do not want your stuff to be, that would be bad. So this system has like very little suction. It's just there too, that if you are in the tube, there should not, like, a surface tension should not cause urine to come out. That's the whole point of that airflow, nothing more than it, because surface tension is annoying at that point in time. So they do that, and after use, you have to use clean wipes. Like this whole bathroom section, one whole section shelf is there of wipes. That's all there is, and that's also resupply wipes. So you have to wipe after every use, and water, that the water is in your urine, that is recycled for reuse. Because be mindful, ISS only achieves 90% efficiency if it recycles urine. Our body dumps a lot of water in urine, like a lot, especially if you are drinking a lot of water. So you have to recycle it. There is no other way. Thankfully, we have very good technology, and this number is like, we can even push it further. And be mindful, the further you push that number, the smaller your water payload will become, or you can carry the same amount of water but last for much longer. That's why that number is very important. Like if somebody says, what would be the problem between 85% or 90%? A lot, like a lot. And that defines, like, can you go to the moon or can you go to the Mars? So if you really want to go to Mars and like have a, let's say, 6-year mission, you're gonna need a seriously good water recycling system, which may even need to exceed 90%, may need to be 99%. So be mindful, water recycling is serious. And that's why I specify every towel had to be dried in that way, so water is extracted. Now, unfortunately, we have no idea about number 2. So poop is basically just sucked out of you. And be mindful, this ball is surprisingly small. It's so small that astronaut need to be trained properly, because if they may end up in a scenario where they're pooping everywhere else, and has happened. It's one of those things that nobody talks about. It was like, it's a serious issue. And again, that's why there are so many wipes, that if you splatter things, you may have to clean it again. have to do it. So you have to, like, again, that's why suction is there to help you. Suction will help you in that, and it will be captured in a bag. That there will be a bag, and that's what you do. You always put it in a bag, and once the bag is full, the person has to pull it out. There will be a dustbin next to it. You put it there, and then it will go into solid waste that will be rejected. So we can't really do much to it. Generally, it's sent into Cygnus craft, because while clothes may have some use, the poop has no use. So they are like, okay, let's just put it in Cygnus, burn it into re-entry. So your poop turns to ash all around the planet. Basically, you're pooping all around the planet. So that's number 1 and 2. 1, we got a good hold on. Number 2, not really. Then we come to the limiting aspect of it. We have to figure out what to do with clothes. This is not a sustainable model of basically anything where it's like we are just sending clothes. We're just sending clothes. That's just not, and not to mention from a personal point of view, many people, like these people are not very young. They are not in like college dormitory age. They are in an age where they will appreciate the fact that they are wearing fresh clothes every day. But we can't afford to do that right now. How would you afford to do that? You figure out how to wash clothes in basically zero-G environment. Not impossible and doable, but again, from cost point of view right now, it's a bit difficult, but we have to figure it out. That's something that we have to do. And if we're really serious about mass, we have to figure out what the hell we're gonna do with poop. We cannot just keep isolating poop. Like, we have to figure out what to do with the poop. And water recycling from poop is kind of very easy, but it does not have too much water unless you have very serious loose motion or diarrhea. But water recycling can be done from it. But what the hell you gonna do with the that much solid matter? Something has to be done, especially for long duration. Not that much important for moon, but if you want to make a moon colony, then yes, at that point in time you have to sort it. We have to figure out some way of dealing with that solid part, because water is manageable. We figured out water, we are good at it, and with more practice, with more effort, we're gonna become even better at it. So food and poos and clothes, these are the final limiting factor at this point in time. That's why we cannot have this many people in ISS for long duration. Like, even though physically they can fit, and they really can't for long duration, because all of them is gonna stink like hell. So fundamentally, that's why you rarely see this. Even though we can send it now, because you know, SpaceX can actually put that many Star Dragon capsules that quickly. But we don't do it because that's the limiting factor. Can you handle the food? Can you handle the poop side of it? Can you handle the cloth side of it? And those things are limited. And these are the bottlenecks that we have to figure out if you really want to advance space tourism. Because even if, let's say, a person has psychological limit that they can only be there doing, let's say, a staff duty for, let's say, 5 months or even 6 months, at that point in time, it would be much better for you if they are 6 months or even 2 months continuously there. If they're continuously there, they will figure out everything. Everything will become muscle memory. They will become efficient with it. You just want to pull them when you need to, and then you will have people coming and going. In those sort of things, you have to figure out how to wash clothes. What the hell you gonna do with poop? And again, that's the critical aspect. What the hell you gonna do with poop? And NASA is also investing a lot of money into figuring out how to make a cloth that does not get dirty. Not even joking. They're actually doing that. So these are the limiting factor. We do not think too much about it, but it is the limiting factor. So this was my presentation on space hygiene. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.